On the CIIE, let's bring in Ying Ying Lu. She is the co-host of the TechBuzz China Podcast by Pandaily. Always a pleasure to see it. A lot to cover. They're talking about knocking down walls while some nations are building them. There's a lot from this year's CIIE, close to 4,000 companies, AI and technology leading the way. What is your big takeaway from this event?
So actually, I haven't been observing the event, more just commenting in general on China entering the digital age, or what we call digital China, and what that means. So it seems from the clips that I just heard that there's a lot of focus in media discourse on this being an economic trend. So this idea that, over 50% of China's GDP by 2030 is going to come from what we call the digital economy. My take on this, and as well as my co-host Rayma, we co-host the TechBuzz China Podcast. We're very focused also on the social aspects of this. So this idea that technology really impacts every aspect of a typical Chinese person's life. So, similar to the West, but in a much more enhanced way. We're talking healthcare, automotive, just this whole idea of O2O, everything offline being brought to you, new retail, e-commerce. I mean, it's a very broad topic, not directly related to this expo that you guys are reporting on right now.
Sure.
But yeah. Further questions?
Well, let's talk about China has been so successful in many of its cities, to anybody that goes there, becoming a cashless society. There's some restaurants that wouldn't even take credit cards. Now, among other high-tech modern ways of living, China is also moving forward. What are your thoughts on the other nations that are still lagging so far behind on the way China is pursuing this modern technology?
By other nations, you mean the developing world and how it's using technology, specifically mobile technology, to kind of go digital and live their lives online?
Sure, and really, even in the United States, if you want to pay for something just by holding your phone up, you don't see it that often. In China, it's everywhere.
Yeah, so actually I just got back from a trip to China 2 weeks ago and heading out again tomorrow. Personally, I can just tell you, I don't even pack a wallet. Maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I used to pack my Chinese bank cards, as well as kind of prepare for having cash offline. Now that's totally unnecessary. All I need to do is make sure that my WeChat wallet has enough RMB to last me through the trip, as well as maybe starting to use Alipay. So actually that's pretty big news. I'm sure you guys have covered both of those payment systems opening up internationally.
Yeah, indeed. I got a WeChat message today that said foreigners are now able to use Alipay in China. So I'm interested when I go back how that's going to play out. But I also read one report that said China was able to showcase its full breadth of technology and services at this export expo. Aerospace, ground transportation, digital identity, security. What is that going to mean to China moving forward?
So I definitely think, we're looking at China moving from not being innovative to maybe having some innovation, specifically in areas like retail, largely on the consumer side, I would say, but in terms of business model innovations as well. So what you're observing at this expo and kind of how it ties into online and the digital economy and just technology as a whole moving forward in China, I would say one of the big risks is actually how does the government regulate that, and how do we as a global community, for example, with this event, there's people from all over the world going to look at the technology and look at what's on exhibit, but in a day-to-day way, as well as in terms of regulating or relating to large companies like Tencent or Alibaba. I think what's needed from a softer angle is really China just participating in global dialogue on what does it mean to have digital governance, what are the best practices for data security, data privacy, and that's really what at the end of the day affects people's lives day to day.
That's a lot to embrace, exactly. Ying Ying Lu, always a pleasure. The co-host of TechBuzz, thanks very much.